53 years ago, I sat in your seats, and we didn't have as nice an auditorium. It was down at the Memorial Auditorium before it was fixed up. And I can imagine what you're going through and the excitement. I'm going to talk to you a little differently than what you've heard up to now. I want to try to give you some of what I've experienced over the last 53 years and how I got there in the first place. It'll take a few minutes, it's not a long time. And then I'm going to tell you some things about the real world and what you have to do or should do to be successful. I am the child, first immigrant family, first natural born in the United States from an immigrant family from Russia. We came to Lowell when I was 5 years old, and we lived on Monadnock Avenue in the Highlands. I went to the Pine Street School, which is no longer in existence. I went to the Morey Elementary School and the Morey Junior High School, and I came to Lowell High School in the sophomore year, which was common in those days. I graduated, as you heard, in 1956. My wife also grew up for a short time in Lowell, and she graduated in 1958 from Lowell High School. My grandparents lived on Bellevue Street in Lowell for many, many years, and my parents then moved to Marlborough Street, and when I got married to my wife in 1960, we lived on Gibson Street in Lowell. Our children, our two daughters, were born in Lowell General Hospital. So we experienced Lowell. I worked since I was 8 years old, and my dad had a little Army and Navy store, so I worked in the community. I knew what it was to work in a store and make a living, and I also knew what it was like to shovel snow, although I did charge when I was doing snow, maybe 50 cents if you were lucky to do a whole driveway. So I've experienced Lowell in the true sense of the word, and I oftentimes tell everybody I'm from Lowell. I am very proud to be from Lowell, and I still have a lot of friends and family that are associated with or are part of Lowell. My first job was unloading a truck in a discount department store. It wasn't the job I envisioned. It was only the job that was available. I was lucky to get the job. Now, after 2 or 3 weeks of unloading a truck, the truck driver came one day with a huge television set, and he passed it down to me, and I dropped it. Fell to the floor in smithereens. Right away, the company recognized that I was an executive. They wanted to fire me. The head receiver, the man who ran that business, said, no, he's a good worker. That could have happened to anybody. 25 years later, when I became chairman of that particular company, they came to me and said, I want to fire that fellow. I said, you're never going to fire that fellow. He saved my job. Now, what got me the job, and how did I get the job, and what is the most important part of having a job? There's 5 ingredients, no matter what you're going to do. Whether you're going to go to college, going in the military, going to get a job, whatever you're going to do, you need these 5 characteristics. And if you don't have them, please try to develop them. And they're not very, very fancy titles. The first item is you have to have common sense. Now, most of you know what common sense is, but you'd be surprised how many people have an appointment at 8 o'clock on a January morning in Lowell, Massachusetts, and they go to bed at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night without checking to see if there's a snowstorm coming. And you're late for your appointment, and you come in and you say, I'm sorry, I didn't know there was going to be a snowstorm. That's not a way to get a good interview or to get a good job. Your job is to anticipate that it's going to snow, get up early and be there on time and wait for that person who's going to talk to you or interview you. So common sense, if you haven't got it, develop it right away. My youngest daughter had 0 common sense until she went to school. It finally developed it. If you asked her how to go from the school to the house, she had no idea. But then she became a doctor, and she starts telling me what to do all the time. So you can develop common sense. The second thing is, no matter what job you get, and it may not be a perfect job, you have to work at it. You have to perspire. You have to put the time and effort into it. None of us in this room, I'm an exception. I've only worked for one company all my life. 49 years I've been with one company or its successor companies. I've also only been married to one woman for 49 years also. So that's a unique thing. I'll take that applause. And I'll tell my wife you gave it for her, because to put up with me, she deserves the applause. But you're going to have a lot of different jobs. So whatever job you get, Get a job. Doesn't make any difference what it is. It will lead to another job and another job. Because the average person in your career is going to have 10, 15 different jobs. So get the job. So when you get the job, put the time in, pay attention, work hard, make it happen. The third ingredient is you have to be creative. You have to come up with ideas or allow people around you to come up with ideas. So when you're doing a job, say, hey, is there a better way to do the job? When you see somebody do something that's in a different area of your responsibility, go over, ask them, learn about it so you can help them do a better job. You get a lot of recognition from that kind of creativity. I am not talking about being a great artist, or I'm talking about productive creativity. It's very, very important. The fourth thing I want to tell you is very important is stick-to-itiveness. Every job has crummy, lousy things. That first job I talked to you about unloading the trucks, part of my job was Mr. Zarkin with a mop to the particular section of the store where somebody had knocked over everything on the floor or some kid got sick and I had to sweep it up. Now, I was a college graduate at the time. I went home, I told my wife, this is wrong. And my wife said to me, look around. Is there anybody smarter at doing this job? Is there anybody working harder? Is there anybody that doesn't do the job as well as you do it, can do it better than you? You go back to work and you get through this. And she was right. 19 years old, she was married to me. I was 21, and she had the smarts to be able to say to me, stick it out. Someday, you'll be successful. You have potential. You can make it happen. The fifth thing is honesty. Honesty is not lying, cheating, stealing. There's no room for those kind of people. But honesty is when somebody asks you a question. An honest question, they say, how much is 2 and 2? And you say it's 4. But you know the person was looking for some other combination. But hey, they just asked you this question, you're getting away as quick as you can. So what you say is, in an honest communication is, you asked how much is 2 and 2, and the answer is 4. But you know, the real answer you're looking for is how much is 1.5 and 2.5. It's oftentimes your parents will say to you, did you do your homework? Well, they're not going to ask you anymore, perhaps. But did you do your homework? Oh, yeah, Mom, I took care of it. You didn't. All you did is bring the book home. You hadn't even started your homework. But you intended to do it. That's not the kind of honesty you need in the workplace. You need a straightforward, terrific honesty. So those 5 ingredients, no matter what the conditions are, and whether good times or bad, will help you get a job, maintain a job, and grow in the job. I work for a company that has 22,000 employees. Not one of them started at the top. Almost all of them started at a much lower rung, similar to what I did. Of the 182 general managers we have, almost everyone started as a stock person within the club. And there's thousands of people that work there that make good paying jobs, that are good futures, and really enjoy what they're doing throughout the company, because the company allows them to grow and be people, and to be the kind of person they want to be. Every job leads to that. You have to take advantage of that. Look out, be aggressive. So I leave you with the last thing that I want to tell you, which is the most important thing. You may not know it today, and you may not know it in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. But when I tell you, someday you're going to wake up and say, I'm from Lowell, and I got a great education at Lowell High School, and that prepared me for all the things I've got to do with life. Because in this room, with the diversity that you have, and then the room was the same when I graduated, with different kind of diversity, but it was just as diverse. Growing up in Lowell and getting a high school education from Lowell has made me appreciate and understand how to deal with people, how to relate to people, and how to make people successful. So I wish you the best of luck in 2009 class and for the future, and good luck to us all. Thank you very much.